Hi everyone, I'm Rosie, co-founder of Her Cosmic Orbit and proud ambassador of this year's One Space event happening on the Space Coast in Florida. And today I'm so excited to introduce you to somebody who doesn't just create events, she creates experiences that move people. Luci Prosapio is a world-class experience architect and the visionary founder and CEO of Sempre Events, with over 2 decades of experience producing high-impact and high-style events across the globe. She has a gift for turning moments into movements. And this year, she is the creative force behind One Space, a new legacy event of Yuri's Night, previously hosted by Spacekind. And this event celebrates humanity's boldest steps into the cosmos. So today we're getting an inside look at who Luci is and why this space celebration is much more than just a party. Hi, Luci. Welcome. I'm so thrilled to talk to you
Hi,
today.
I am so happy to be here. I love that introduction. I get inspired myself just hearing what you're saying. So thank you so much for having me here.
Of course, I'm so excited to be part of One Space and what you're doing with Separate Events. So let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to become a experience architect and eventually launch Sempre Events?
Absolutely. So my background was actually in human rights law, and I just knew that I wanted to do something to help change, the lives of people on our planet, right? And I know that's a very lofty, oftentimes attributed to our generation's goals. And so I was going down that path. I was really focused on, and I put on I was working in the anti-trafficking world mostly, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, I want to play with everybody. Like, I care very deeply about this field, and I care very deeply about what I'm doing, and like I want to help support this group and that organization and this way of doing things, right? And I realized one of the things that was sidestep. Someone said to me one time that you know what your superpower is when it's really simple for you, and everyone else kind of like, oh, you're doing that. That's difficult, and you're like, I do that when I'm half asleep, So you have that moment where you're like, wait, is it really that difficult? And that's when someone said, that's when you find your superpower. And I had always found that bringing people together was a superpower for me. And I just like, whether it was, whipping together an event or an experience or making some sort of connection or building this, someone said, hey, I'm really trying to get this to happen. Like, okay. And so I started to analyze that and go, wait a second, that's apparently my superpower. I can do that, and I can do that for a lot of people and organizations and companies and movements. Um, and again, I get to fulfill my own dream of getting to play with everybody, right? So that's where Sempre was born. Sempre means always in Italian. So if anyone who speaks a Latin language, Semper for our Latin and military, based friends, Siempre for our Spanish speakers. And I'm Italian, and that's how my grandparents would sign cards when I grew up, was at the very end, they would sign Sempre, Grandma and Grandpa. So that's where the name came from because there was this always this loyalty to the cause. And that's how we started, was to just really be able to create impact for every company and group that we work with.
I love that. You definitely are a doer, and we need more of that in this industry. So you
Mm.
describe your events as immersive journeys that create impact. What does that mean to you personally, and how do you design with that kind of intention?
Fantastic. So a lot of times in the events world, people say that an event needs three things. It needs a date, a time, and a place. We say it needs four. It needs a date, time, place, and it needs a purpose. And so what we really do is, if the purpose is to party, the purpose is to party, and let's name that, right? But oftentimes there's something larger to that experience. And I think we can all go into our brain and say, oh, yeah, we've been to dozens and dozens of those nameless events. I was at some place and, I think the food was fine. I think the drinks were okay. I met some nice person there, whatever. And then we have those events that we remember forever.
Yeah.
We remember there's something, whether it's something really small or like a surprise and delight or something that's really extraordinary. And so my aim is to just really make sure that, first off, as a production in and of itself, we're very clear on what that purpose is. If it is to bring people together to celebrate something, to launch a new product, to get donors for something, right, to raise money, we're very clear on the what and the how. And then we're really aiming for what we call grace notes, which is those really small, if you read music, for those who read music, there's sometimes a very tiny note above a big note, and those are called grace notes. So those are the little things that make all the difference. And so that's really when you mentioned this immersive journey, it's filling in those grace notes. It's those little things where someone goes, they remember my name, or cool, it could have been a regular dance floor, or it could be an LED dance floor with like an immersive robot on the floor with you too, right?
I
Like it
mean,
does. I mean, in the space industry, we need to have a robot on the dance floor, right? So that's really how we look at things a little differently. And then, that's where you mentioned the architect side of things. I always knew I was not an event planner, air quotes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an incredible industry. And then one of my teammates a few years ago said to me, "You do realize you're an experienced architect, right? An architect is looking at the whole thing and
yeah,
designing this experience holistically." And I went, "Well, changed my title. Here we go." Like found it. And it's just been really cool moving forward because we get to, in the way that someone wants to have their house, maybe have their kitchen redone or, a house. I would really like to use a house analogy for this. It's your idea, it's your passion. It's my goal and our company's goal to create that architectural structure to say, is this what you're looking for? Your dream is lots of light and a big open kitchen space and ABCD. And then
yeah,
we come back with that design, now again from an experiential standpoint. And then we make that come true. We have the, again, proverbial construction crew to make that happen, to make those dreams come true, which we like to use the architect model or
yeah.
analogy quite a lot because it helps people visualize how we do things a little differently.
I love that because me coming from an artistic background and having a degree in fine art and digital art, just art in general,
Mhm.
it kind of when you talk about the immersiveness and the experience architect, it reminds me of installation art. You know,
Yes.
creating
Hmm.
the setting and almost as an architect, sometimes you're creating whole buildings or whole, immersive experiences where the audience has to step into to
Hmm.
feel what you're trying to convey. And so it's very similar to that. It's just your installation is a party.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that you say that because no matter the event that we produce or the experience that we produce, there's a woman named Priya Parker who wrote a book. And one of the things that she says in that book is an event starts the moment you hear about it, right? And it can start by going, oh my gosh, that's next week. And like, where's the dress code on this?
Yeah.
And then or there can be this like, in some of the really high-end events that we do, there's this very delicate, invitation and packaging and this kind of surprise and delight and gifts and a journey that people are going on even before they ever step foot into the building. And so to your point, one of the things that we're always thinking about is how to transition someone from before event to event. And then from event to post event. Like, how do
Yeah.
we want to make them, that Marianne Endelman quote, right? How do we want to make them feel? They're not going to necessarily remember what we said or what we did, but they will remember how we made them feel pre, during, and post.
Yeah.
So we do think about when someone is getting out of their car and they're running late from their meeting and they're, they're changing into their spacesuit in the parking lot, walking in, how we then can help them wipe all of that away, become fully immersed and present. We know we've done our job not just because, the place is full and the budget is fulfilled, but even more importantly, because people are present.
Yeah.
That's my sign of success is when people, the hosts, the guests, the talent, even our workers, right? Those who are my staff, my team, the people from the venue, like when we're all present, like that is success for me. So yeah, that's how we really want to make people immersed because you leave that going, that made that there's something inside of me and my heart and my mind and my inspiration that like is forever changed, and that's what I love doing.
I love it. Okay, so One Space. One Space is continuously continuing the legacy of Yuri's Night, a renowned worldwide party celebrating the first human in space. What
Mhm.
inspired you to take the torch and create a new kind of space celebration?
Absolutely. Well, and as you just said, Yuri's Night is the legacy. It is what we're building from and with and on. And we have had the opportunity, we as Sempre have had the opportunity to produce Yuri's Nights. And we got the opportunity this year to start with, we we didn't realize exactly what we knew the universe was getting us ready for something as big as one space. But we got the opportunity to say, hey, we're going to be taking on the space and the concept and the love that is, the love and passion of space that is Yuri's Night. And let's see how big we can make this, right? As you mentioned, it's about the first human in space. And as we were talking about that, the word firsts came out. And that's where we developed what is now the brand of One Space. And what we realized was we can do one spaces all over the world all of the time with a different first in mind. And even at like this event or any future, Yuri's Night timed one space event, we can find what really hits people's hearts and souls, right? Whether that is about the first human or those who watched Star Trek and, Star Trek was a first love of theirs that dipped their toe into the industry or fashion or for, the story that I have, my first love is a piece of art.
Yeah.
And that artist is going to be at the event in a very big way. And I've just been, continually inspired and in love with the industry more and more. And it was like, I really liked the industry. And then I saw that piece of art and it was like, like the I loved to I'm in love with like happened with that. And so we're hoping that we can use one space. It's less about us celebrating and saying, hey, like, yes, we'll have something that we're celebrating, the first human, we're talking, I know I'm bebopping around a little bit. So we're talking about the historical firsts, first, human first, man on the moon, that type of thing. The present firsts, the things that are happening every day now, the first all-female crew, the first lunar lander, vast upcoming space station, like those firsts, and then the future firsts that we're creating right now, that's all part of one space. And for each of us, we're going to have something different. What you're going to be drawn to with yourself, your interest, and your background is going to be different from what I'm drawn to, which is going to be different from someone who is a guitar player slash, launch control mission engineer at SpaceX. He or she is also going to be inspired and in awe of something at this event. So we want to actually flip it a little bit on the head and make it yours to fall in love with, like yours to find your place in space at each of these events.
Love it. How would you describe the vibe at
Ooh.
space? In just a few words, just a few words, describe the
Just a
vibe.
few words. She's like, keep it short, Lucy. I get really excited. But yeah, how I would describe the vibe of One Space is one part celebratory dance party and one part immersive, like space development experience. Like if you want to get to meet the people of space, you will get to be standing there next to someone who works in NASA administration, probably an astronaut, probably someone who helped build and design something really cool, and a student who's in their first semester of aerospace. And you'll be the Star Trek person, right? Like that's what you're going to find is this immersive connection and an opportunity for people to let their hair down and, have some fun.
I love that. That's so different than other space events that people might maybe who aren't in the industry normally would not, consider going to. But this is an event where even if you're not in the industry, you can go there and interact and network and talk to
Right.
people in the industry. And that's so different.
Right. And some people shy away from coming in because they go, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be with a bunch of rocket scientists." Like I do massage work and I just think space is cool.
Yeah.
Like there's a place for you
Yeah.
and you fit in just as much as everyone else. So yeah, it's that oh my gosh, I'm not the one to coin this, but the space serious and the space curious, right? It's the blending of the two, I was one of the space curious a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm serious, but I kind of think I am. But I'm also proof that you can be in the industry. You and I are both proof that you can be in the
Right?
industry.
Yeah.
We have a valuable place in this industry, and we were welcomed in this way. So.
I love that. So what are you most excited for people to see or experience at this event?
Hmm. There is something completely indescribable about being under Shuttle Atlantis in that building with other people. Like there's this energy that is created. Like you can go there from 9 to 5 when they're open or 9 to 6 when they're open with other people and all the machines are whirring, buzzing and what have you. And then to step into that space where there's a live band on stage and everything's lit up and it's just you and your 600 closest friends or new friends. That's what I'm most excited about is for people to walk in there and have an experience, you know, that they're going to just get to take as and make as their own. They may like just be standing there staring at the shuttle, and just really getting to like fall in love with the shuttle. They may go find some art. They may be at the bar the whole time and having the most amazing time. I mean, we had a whole dance off last time. Like there was amazing dance. I mean, there was a break dancer on the dance floor and like he had the time of his life. So what I'm really excited is for people to just really walk into that magical space that is created. And I mean, like, there are very few people on this planet who can say they danced under a rocket ship, you know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
really excited about. It's really unique. It's really special.
yeah.
We don't overlook that for sure.
I went to the Yuri's night a couple years ago when at California Science Center when the
Mhm.
shuttle was still
Yeah.
vertical to where you or horizontal where you can go right under it. And we partied right there, right under the shuttle. And I have yet to do that with Atlantis. So I'm excited because if you've been
It's
to the Kennedy Space Center, the Visitor Center, and seen Atlantis, just the way that they have it configured, the way that they have it displayed is
mhm.
probably my favorite of all the shuttles, all the
It's
museums, it's so
yeah.
beautiful. You see every angle of it and it's directly above you and then there's even an area where it's directly in front of you. So yeah, so I can't wait because that's going to be amazing to be able
It's
to celebrate with. Yeah.
It's so amazing. And I'm glad that you said that. Like, I love how each museum did their design. In California, here in DC, out at Udvar-Hazy, they've all done a really unique and really good job. And even Space Center Houston. But the designer did where you walk in, and for those who haven't experienced, I'm not going to give it away, but like when
Yeah.
you first walk into the building, I've probably
Right.
done that
I crave
I
that.
mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And even right now, I'm like, okay, Lucy, don't cry.
Yeah.
Like, there's just this emotion that you're coming face to face, and her side is open so you can see like what's inside. And like, I remember being there a few years ago and standing actually at the engine side and just marveling at, oh my God,
It's
those
so
engines
close. It's so
so close
close.
and
Yeah.
they're so big.
They're
Like you see them and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But then you're like, wow, like we could have a dance party inside the engine. And
yeah.
there's like 8 of them or whatever. But then yeah, there is really something when you're standing underneath that and you're under. Like
Yeah.
it is essentially like when we talk to our vendors and our logistics people, and they're like, okay, where are we putting everything? I'm like, just basically, here is the here's the shuttle, here's the dance floor. Like, whoop, and take your party with that. And I mean, even some of the photos we have from last year, like it's just so like yeah, it's like our protector over us. Like, oof, it's so fun. And there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Okay. Let's talk about looks. So, if you follow me, I'm all about space fashion. I'm all about dressing up, cosplay, and self-expression. What's the dress code? What can people expect from this,
I
or what can
mean,
people expect to see other people wearing? What can they wear? And is there going to be a costume competition, I hear?
oh yes, there is. Oh yes, there's going to be a costume competition, and I'm not going to give away all of the people who are the judges, but I will say that one of our incredible performing artists, Dr. Crispy, is going to be the one making the announcement on stage. So when he's up to perform, he will be making that announcement of our winner, and that winner is going to get to go up and show their wear. One of the things that's really important for us is that you feel comfortable in the space, right? Like if your vibe is we had a guy who showed up in a full tux, and we were like, And he was like, I'm going retro. Like, when you're 400 years in the future wearing
Yeah,
a tux is retro. And I was
that's
like, okay,
true. That's true.
touche, touche, sir. But if you wanted to, and you've always wanted to dress up as an intergalactic princess, like now is your time. If you are vibing like a Wookiee, like do your thing. If for you, a NASA t-shirt and a pair of Vans is your vibe, like you're welcome as well, right? Like there's no like forced costume, but we really want people to like be able to creatively express themselves. And I mean, we've had so many fun uh, and I'm speaking to the expert here on this. How you show up is an invitation to connect.
Yeah.
And we've had so many people who wear something super interesting. A dear, dear friend of mine I met on a dance floor, and he and his wife were on the dance floor. I didn't even know who they were, but his outfit, he had this like space version of like Transformer, what have you, and he had like a glowing chest piece. And I was just like, and I like walked up and I was like, and like just because of his outfit, he was so inviting in to have a conversation. And then that's how I got to meet, such an amazing person. And in the same way, we get to have that because everyone's not in suits and ties. And if one of our astronauts wants to wear their flight suit, they are usually do, and they're more than welcome to. But it helps break down our dress helps break down our barriers.
Yeah.
And it helps show who we are and what we love. Right. I always love the people who show up Star Wars and people show up Star Trek and they're kind of like, can we
It's
vibe?
funny. You see my Star Wars back here, but I'm
Yeah.
honestly thinking of wearing my Star Trek uniform. I don't know.
I mean, so I will say we have a lot of Trekkies and we have a lot of Star Trek there. We will have our amazing friends of the 501st and the Mandalorians and the droids showing up as well. So we if you know who that group is,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're a sanctioned Lucasfilms group. It's a nonprofit, but they show up to events, but they're completely cosplay
Yeah.
professional level. So
Very
um,
accurate. Yeah.
yes, very accurate. And I will say I love the droids so much.
Yes.
The fantastic photo where one of the little R2s was chasing after me whistling. And so I like bent down and like kissed its little noggin. I know. I was like, oh, you're so
I have
cute.
I have a video from Yuri's Night a couple years ago with the actor who played Q from Star Trek interacting with the R2D2 that was there. And I
Yeah.
had to get him. I was like, Ron franchise, right? And he just started
Yeah.
laughing, but he was so into it. He just was following R2D2 all around, and I was just loving it. I was like, this is the merge of all our favorite fandoms, all our favorite things, and just all of space, you know?
And it's I got the opportunity a couple years ago to lead a panel, and one of the things that I spoke a lot about was how like fashion and social pop culture like actually influenced the space industry and how the space
Yeah.
industry influenced social and pop culture, right? Like so some of the things that we wear
Mhm.
these days are, kind of influenced by outer spacey or intergalactic, vibes,
Yeah.
and vice versa. We've got Velcro shoes for a reason, and that was because of space.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we have amazing even the next level up. We've got phenomenal companies in our aerospace industry who have paved the way and are making massive differences because they believed in a Star Trek future.
Yes.
Because when they were,
Roddenberry future.
yeah, when they were 6, 8, 10 years old, they were watching Star Trek and going, this is the future I believe in and I see. And, now we have these incredible companies that are being created. And if you really dive back into it, what was their first? Their first was Star Trek. So I'm excited because we also have to remember that we're all humans and human beings. And yes, we may be the CEO of a really well-known aerospace company, but we may also be a Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And we may also really love to dress up, and we also may really love to chase R2D2s around. We may like to dance to Chilean space rock bands, and that is all part of who we are and
Yeah.
how we grow as an industry, right?
I love that. You just went right into my next question basically with that. But what do you think space exploration and a celebration like this matter? Like not just for science, but for culture and creativity and connection. And you've already said a little bit of that, but why do these two things matter together?
Everyone finds their way into something in a different way. You can talk to seven people who do the same job, and there'll be seven different reasons on why they started doing it.
Yeah.
And you never know what is going to make an impact on somebody. And so if it is something that doesn't feel accessible to them, if it is very, because for some people, listening to the most scientific space talk is going to be like, that's their turn on, like that's their thing, right? Like, oh my God, I'm so inspired. Um, I find that stuff interesting. I like intellectual discussions, but for me, I'm like, that's not going to make me like, that's going to make me be like, I should have probably done better. Like, sorry, wrong, wrong member of the family on for my side. All my family is, science based, and then there's me. But if you were to show me a piece of art or culture,
Mhm.
like that for me, like rings true, right? And to be like, oh, okay, there is a space for me in
Yeah.
this. And so things like this matter because even the most, I have a dear friend who works in one of the large space companies, engineer and dancer,
Yeah.
right? There's a creative expression that is made in what they do. And, I believe, I'm gonna totally butcher, we'll have to figure out how this is. Who was it who said, to go to like who I want to bring to space are poets and artists and like we don't want scientists. We want to bring poets and artists. I think that I'm gonna butcher it. I don't want to say the wrong person. But we'll find out who that was.
Yeah.
But things like this really do help um, open access and allow people to be, as one of the big things that I notice with the events that we do is we get to be 3D human beings
Yeah.
at these events. If we're going to an event and it's super stodgy and you can only talk about this one thing and
Or you
you
have
can
to be a certain like there's a certain level of professionalism and like, you feel like you have to come show up a certain way. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a time and place for those and there's absolutely appropriate, but that means you're a 2D human being,
Yeah.
you know, but when you get to come to an event like this, you're a 3D human being.
Yeah.
You get to really you can talk business. I mean, I have seen it like flat out, like I have seen business and for those who are, we've had a few companies reach out to us to say like, is this just a party? And I'm like, you know what? I have actually seen big time deals that have
Yeah.
been in the I'll say in the dating phase.
Yeah.
Um, by bringing them to something where they can be socially together,
Yeah.
they
A
are
little
it's a
more
net
relaxed, a little
more
more, yeah, yeah,
yeah, there's a trust
approachable.
that's yeah,
Approachable, yeah.
approachable. Exactly. And there's a
Which is a
trust.
big, I think, going to other conferences and space events, that is something that I find an issue, especially for people who are not from the industry or who just want to interact with the industry or people in the industry. It's
Mhm.
a lot of times people are unapproachable, or it is a
Right.
little more intimidating. And I feel like an environment like this is more
Mhm.
approachable to these things that you're not familiar with. Yeah.
Exactly. And you get to show who you are and not feel like you have to, as you said, like kind of conform into something or meet, a certain um way of being. Because I remember when I first came into the industry, I was a sponge. I was like, I know what a rocket ship is, and so you're hearing these people talking about like second stage and fairings and this and that, and you're just like, but I consider, how lucky and how fortunate I am for my introduction into the industry and how I was able to be brought in and be able to do what I do. And I just think this is a way for us and me and for Sempre to give back in that way. And
Yeah.
also just to continue to expand that because, there's so much fun to be had. And this is kind of unless you're talking like deep, deep ocean stuff, like this is kind of the territory where really we get to figure this out together as humanity.
Yeah.
Like there's the story hasn't been written here yet. And we get to really figure out what it looks like to be a 3D human in outer space.
Yeah.
Everything matters down to yoga and fashion and, physical and mental well-being, like everything will be affected by space. And we
Yeah.
get to do that together. So,
Yes. I agree. I agree with you. So, I mean, that brings us to the end. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of this event and to be ambassador and be there and dressing up. So, if you love space, even if you're not in the space industry or you want to be in the space industry or you're curious about it or you just want to party with a bunch of nerds, join us June 21st at the Kennedy Space Center. And Lucy, tell them where can they get tickets? How can they get involved if they want to support or be part of this event?
Absolutely. Well, and we are so honored to have you, Rosie, as one of our ambassadors. And so Rosie does have a link and a code. So please feel free to use that link and code from her. Or we'll also have things on our social media as well as the website for One Space is sempre.one. So SEMPRE.one. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to our team as well. And fun side fact is what a better way to celebrate the start of summer because that's the summer solstice as well on June 21st. So come and celebrate the longest day of the year with us as we go, this beautiful planet goes around our sunshine. So yep, but we are happy to share, if there's people who have additional questions or anything like that. But again, Rosie, you have an awesome access code as one of our super valued ambassadors. Yeah, so definitely include that in there. And then, any questions, we're super happy to answer. We love what we do, and we can't wait to party with you.
Where can we follow you and Semper Events and One Space?
Yes. So currently for Sempre, we do have, and One Space has one Instagram. It's at Sempre Events. My personal is at Luci Prosapio. That's the fun, nerdy Lucy side thing that I'll promise to get better at. And then we have the same on LinkedIn, X, and I just got X. I was just told I needed to. X, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. So we're on all of the above, showing off the fun stuff that we're doing. And as a little just side note, wherever we want to put this in, Rosie, this is the inaugural One Space, but we actually already have between now and the next 12 months another 4 One Spaces that are about to be announced. And what's really cool is all of these One Spaces will get to promote each other and support each other. So, and we are going international. So for all of those who are going to be down under with us at IAC, we have a really fun announcement that we're making very soon. So
For
this
those who
is
don't know, can you say really quick what ISE is?
sure, absolutely. So IAC is the International Aeronautical Conference. I want to make sure I say it right. Um, and that's the largest international aerospace conference in the
In the world.
world.
Yeah.
Every year it goes somewhere different. Last year it was in Milan, Italy, which was fantastic in Milan. And this year it's in Sydney, Australia. And so we have a really fun announcement that we'll be making very soon about a One Space there. We will likely have at least one prior to that. And we already have another 3 booked for next year, including this one. So we're really excited because we'll have that all up on our socials and on our website, and people can really kind of start to plan out their One Space journey. And if anyone has an idea about One Space, again, we really want to, stemming from the beautiful legacy of Yuri's Night, this is about the community. It is about bringing something bigger, to people and what they love, what the firsts were for them and what the first that we're currently creating in space. So
I love that. That's so exciting. Congratulations. And thank you for
thank
creating
you.
a space like this where we can show up and express ourselves as well as just express our love for space. It was so nice talking
Absolutely.
to you.
We get the opportunity to create things that we love, and we get to share with others. And so we're just like over the moon, if you will. We're just so excited to get to share this with the community and get to celebrate with everyone because I will tell you, I will be on the dance floor. I will see you all there. I may
See
have a
you on the
headpiece.
dance floor June 21st.
June 21st. Absolutely. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Of course.